How many of you have ever searched for a file on your Mac or your iPad? I bet all of us have. I'm one of them. I've lost something and I can't find it, and I know it's around here somewhere, and I will not go anywhere until I find it. Okay, not quite that much. Let me share my screen with you. Let me explain what I'm talking about here. I know it's confusing. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Quickly, if you want to search for a document on the Mac, there are a number of ways. One of the ways, and I never do this, but I read about this the other day, click on the Finder icon in your dock. When you click on it, it opens up all kinds of recent documents that you created. And a lot of people don't know that you can do that. So once again, just go down to your dock, click on Finder. It opens up and it shows you some of the docs. As you well know, you can switch this. It's icon view. You can switch it to list view. If you have a whole bunch of them, that will tell you the type of document when it was last opened. You can also change that if you want to something, here's your icon view, here's your list view, here's your column view. So if you click on something or a folder, it'll tell you more about it to the right. And if you have a folder in here, I don't know if I have any folders. It's kind of like those Russian dolls. You click on a folder and it shows you what's inside the folder. And if you had multiple items inside there, you could click on one and go to another column. So that's column view. And I don't use this one very much. This is a view where you can slide over and it shows you different documents. It's another way of looking at it. I typically, and I think most of you probably use icon view or list view. One of the easy, if you think there's a document in here and you know the name, a lot of people don't know this, you can type the first or the first few initials of that document. So if I want to type, good gosh, I've got 1,494 items in here. You think I need to clean this out a bit? If I type a T, it will show me here T-shirt order 2015. It will show me the files that begin with T. Can't talk tonight, especially if I put them in order. For example, go up here. It's not what I wanted. Okay. Let's go back here. Let's go to list view or icon view. And I'm going to go over here to the right and choose name. Then it throws them into alphabetical order. It's this little icon right up here. And on the iPad, you'll see something similar. I'm just going to type T. And since I put them up here in alphabetical order, it will highlight the very first icon with a T in it. You can do that in your applications folder if you're looking for some kind of an app or any other folder that you want. You need, if you know what the first letter of that is, or you can type several letters. For example, if you're up here and you want to get to the M's as in March, you can type an MA or MAR, and it will take you down. It will highlight the very first document that has MAR in it. And you can use these tools up here really easily to find things if you have a hunch about what the name of the file is. But that's using down here your Finder. Another way is to go up here. It looks like a magnifying glass, and click on your Spotlight. This is also on the iPad, and you can type in here anything you want to search for a file on your computer, Apple. Okay. Over here on my sidebar, it's showing me the desktop. I can also click on something, anything over here I want to get to. This is the sidebar here on the left. It even searches iCloud data. So that's using your Spotlight up here. You can also, when you open a search box, you can also click on the search blank up here to search for an individual document. Jerry Heaton's death doc. It's right here. I sent this to my students in the class I'm teaching, the math class that I'm teaching, because they wanted it, so I sent it to them. These are all past newsletters, CKCS newsletters, which I need to get rid of and organize somehow. But over here on your sidebar, you can also search. You can search iCloud, Pages. I use Pages quite a bit. It's like Word. This is similar to the iPad. Pictures, documents, your desktop, stuff over here on your desktop. Again, your recents, and even applications. You can search for applications in here. Something about Spotlight that's kind of neat is you can click on Spotlight and you can put in kind, pages. See if I'm doing this right. Okay. It opens up this little box right here. I have no idea what these things are, but you can search for different kinds of documents, Word, Excel, Pages, numbers, by using your Spotlight up here. And you should be able to come close to finding one of your documents. If I want to categorize things, I'm going to create a new folder on my desktop here, a new folder. I'm going to move zoom so I can get over here. It's right here. It's called Untitled Folder, and I'm going to label it taxes. Okay, then I'm going to create a document in there. I'm going to put a document in there. Let's say this has to do, come on, come over here, sweetie. Let's say I have a document in there that has to do with taxes right here. I can put a little dot on the name. I can label it, click on the name, go up to File and choose a color and color it. And you can put a whole bunch of documents in here if they have to do with, like, create another folder in here. 2024 taxes, or just 2024. That's inside the folder called taxes. So anything that has to do with 2024 taxes will have a blue dot on it. Create another folder in here. Call it 2023, for example. And you can also put dots on these folder names. Go up to File, come down, choose a color, and choose a different color for another year. But it's really useful because it's visually, when you see this dot, and put it along with all your documents, put it along the name, you'll know that all those documents inside that folder have to do with that year and that year only. And it makes it really easy to keep things organized. Half the problem people have with computers and iPads and iPhones, I think, is file management. How do you file things? Where do you file them? How do you keep them in order? And like Joe said, how many documents do you have, Joe?
Unknown
I think
thousands.
Brookie said she has something like 95,000 photos.
No, it's only 26,000
Oh, maybe it's
on her phone. On her phone.
on her phone. Okay. Maybe it's one of my students that has that many. I don't know. When she said that, I said, I didn't have much to say. I just said, wow, that's amazing. And she wants a way of keeping them in order, and she could keep them on her computer if she had a way of, for example, putting these dots, copying them from Apple Photos, putting them in folders on her computer, and throwing away the ones she doesn't want and putting color-coded dots next to them. And that'd be a good way of keeping everything in order. So there you have it. Those are some of the ways. There are also a number of third-party programs that you can install if you want to use them to find things. But I typically find the Finder down here is pretty good, and Spotlight up here in the menu bar is pretty good. And of course, if you use Pages, Numbers, Excel, Word, Keynote, PowerPoint, if you go down to the dock and you hold down on them, you'll get your recent documents that you just created. You can also go up to your Apple menu. Now, where is it? Recent items, right here. And it will show you the apps that you recently used and your items down here below. So anyway, a lot of ways to find things if you need help finding stuff. There's also a document that I sent to everybody called Find Files PDF. It has links for the Mac and for the iPad in terms of ways of finding files if you need it. Some of them are YouTube too. Joe?
Yes. You're done there?
I'm done. It's all yours.
Okay. Some of the things I'm going to talk about, I mentioned before, is how to prevent your phone from tracking you, which is pretty important stuff. Let me go to over here on my computer and find my handouts. And I'll get to that in just a minute. Okay, preventing tracking. Let me go and share my screen here. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, here's my notes about tracking. Some of these things are really important. And you need to be careful with what is tracking you. It's a couple of things to remember though. You know, when you're taking a picture and you on your phone or your pad, you open the picture and you slide up just a little bit, it'll tell you where that picture was taken, the latitude, longitude, to show you a map where it was taken. If you had all the tracking turned off, it couldn't do that. If you hit in your maps, and in my maps, I'll say something like, take me to wherever, but it's got to know where you are. And that's part of the tracking system. But here's a couple things that we can do here. If you wanted to do this, let's see, I'm going to go and share my phone so I show you exactly how I do this. Let me go here and get share again. Okay, you see my phone. Okay, here's my phone. And the first thing I'm going to show you is how to turn off your location settings. And after this, I get through the discussion, I will give you a handout that shows you all of this stuff. I'm going to go to my settings. And in my settings, the first thing I want to do is go down to privacy and security. And we'll scroll down here until we get to privacy and security. And then from there, we'll go to location services. And you notice here on location services, at the top, I've got that turned on. And then down below there, you can see all the different apps that I've got. And you notice I don't have any of them turned on except for when I'm using the app. So if I was in, the options here are never, ask next time, or when I share while using the app, or leave it on always. I don't leave any of them on always because nobody needs to know exactly where I am. If I'm flying on Allegiant to South Dakota or wherever, then I'll turn that one on for always. So I will, if something comes up, my flight's changed or my gate's changed, then I will have that information. So anyway, most of these I would suggest just going to set them for while using. The next one in the settings, we'll go back to privacy and security, and then location services, system services. Where is that? Down at the bottom, you say system services. And some of these are on showing some different thing. Emergency calls, Find My Phone. Do you all know what Find My Phone is? If you lose your phone, you can go to another device, your iPad or a computer, and open the Find My Phone app, and it will tell you where your phone is in case you lose it. So those are some of the things you may want to look at. We can limit the app tracking. You get that, Kirk? And limit app tracking. We're going to go to stay in privacy and security and go to tracking. And under
Yeah,
tracking,
did you get to do, did you get in there to do what you need?
okay, that's muted. Anyway, allow apps to request to track. Some of the things I've read say that this should be turned off like that, and they can't track you. If you're using Safari, you know, a lot of websites will track what you're doing, but of course, Apple is Safari. So let's go and see what they say about that. I'm going to go into my settings, go down to my apps, and then scroll down till I find Safari. And here's Safari. And the thing they say here is enable prevent cross-site tracking. So we'll go down here. To this screen, and you can see there where it says prevent cross-site tracking, and that should be turned on to help keep websites from tracking your browsing activity. A couple other things is avoiding public networks. Anytime you're on a public network, there's a chance somebody can break into your information. When you go to Panera and you log on, it's possible someone can see it. I would do that some if I'm just looking at my email or sending messages, but I would never open a banking account or anything that would be sensitive. And another thing, which is probably the simplest one of all, is just go and turn on airplane mode. And that's real easy to do. You can do it in your control panel, which you see here. And when I tap airplane mode, it turns orange. And when that orange light is on, then there's no signals coming in or going out. You're basically off the grid. So benefits, your location data won't be shared with apps, reducing their risk of tracking or data breaches. Also, when you got a bunch of these turned off, you'll save your battery. It's not searching out for more information all the time. And a lot of times you'll be able to avoid unwanted advertisements. Now, so what are the downside to that? Is you're going to have limited functionality in some apps. You have difficulty finding your lost devices, like Find My iPhone. And you may miss some other features in other apps that do location-based services. Some of the things I mentioned already was your maps. They can't direct you if they don't know where you are. Things like ride sharing, Uber, Lyft, food delivery like DoorDash or Uber Eats, they can't find you if you don't have your location services on. Other things, just like the weather app, when you open your weather and it goes right to Lexington, that's because your location services are on that tell you where the app should look and give you information from. And other services, some of the emergency SOS systems may not be active. They may still work, but may not be quite as effective. So those are some of the things about location services. And again, I'll put that in my chat box here in a minute. Okay, any questions on location services? Let me close that on my computer and close this on my computer. Then I'm going to go to okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and go to the chat. And in the chat, I'm going to download some maps. Takes a minute for me to get there. All things Apple, Apple presentations today. This and this and open. And share. So anyway, both of those should be in the chat room now where you can tap on them and download. The next thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is messages that you get. Sometimes you get a message that somebody was reading a newspaper article and, oh, I want to send this to everybody. And so they send that article to 15 people. And then 15 people start responding. And then the respondent responds to the respondent. And it gets nerve-wracking. So what I'm going to do here is share my phone again, and I'll show you how this works. Okay, are you seeing my phone now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go over here to my messages. And I'm going to search for a friend of mine who likes to do this. Okay, here's one here. And you can see at the top of the screen, this went out to 6 people. And then they're all responding. So how do you kill that, make that quit happening? So what you do here is up at the top of the screen there. Let me move this out a moment. You'll see these names here. And I'll tap on that. And it will bring up all the people. You can see the 6 people here. Their names. If you wanted to find more information, you could tap on that. But down here's the important thing is you can go here to hide alerts and tap on that and you'll quit getting the messages. Now, the message will still come to your phone if you want to look at them later. And you can do that, or you can go down to this next step, delete and block this conversation, and you won't hear any more of it. Okay, so that's pretty simple, easy to do, and it gets rid of a lot of nuisance. Okay. Now, the next thing I had was the iPhone 16e. Let me pop that up here. Got to stop sharing again and go to another. Now, the iPhone 16e has just come out recently, and it's are you seeing iPhone 16e, Janet? Okay. I've got 2 or 3 screens here, and I never would know what's working. Anyway, probably one of the key things about the iPhone to me is it's really one of the cheapest. It's the cheapest current iPhone at $599. And if you buy that, it gives you about 128 megabytes of memory. And on my phone, I purchased more than that, but after 5 or 6 years, I've only used about half of 128 meg. So usually that's enough. If you think you're going to need more, but the $599, it'll go up to 256 megabytes for another $100. But that's a whole lot of memory. Now, a lot of these things down here are like, I don't know what that means. So I'll just give you, and I don't either, but I'll give you my version of it. They say it's a little faster chip, ensuring smooth performance and efficient multitasking. I've got a 16. I just got rid of a 13. And I don't notice a whole lot of difference when I go from one to the other on how fast the machine works. You know, say 10% faster, and I never can recognize that. So I don't worry too much about that. Now it's got this one has a 48 megapixel camera, which is a really big camera. It offers a really good resolution, and a picture with 48 megapixels, you can blow it up pretty good size. So that's good. This one, there'll be a lot of oh good and a lot of oh no, but it supports Apple Intelligence and providing access to AI powered features. And some of those, we just went through some of them in our iPhone class about some of the things you can do with AI. One of the things I found that was really helpful for me, particularly, I write things pretty straightforward. Stop, don't come here. For example, instead of trying to do something more flowery or more professional. And with Apple Intelligence, it could take the thing I just said. We would like you to stop, please. And if you would, please do not enter here. And anyway, it dresses it up, makes it fancier, and it does a really good job. One thing that is particularly good about this is the battery life. They say it lasts 26 hours of video playtime, Doc. And if you have an iPhone 11, it says it'll give you 8 more hours of usage on that. So if you're using it a lot and have problems with battery, this is a good option. Other thing, it's got the USB-C cord on the end. It used to have the Lightning cord. But the USB-C cord allows you more adaptability to other devices. And some things they mentioned, a couple other things about the iPhone 16e. It's got a very, very durable glass on it. It's pretty light, and they even emphasize you can drop it and not worry about it. So that's important for a lot of us. I know when I'm in my car, sometimes I'll lay my phone in between my legs just to hold it in place and stop the car and get out. And there goes the phone. phone flying across the driveway. So anyway, it's very durable. Some things negative about it, I don't know how important these are. It lacks some of the magnetic charging capability. It will still do magnetic charging, but not at the speed of the current models. It only has a single rear camera, which misses out on some features like the ultra wide or the zoom. It doesn't really have a whole lot of, most cameras have very little zoom in them anyway. And I've got the iPhone 16 and it only has one camera and I'm very pleased with it. And that's about it. So anyway, some things to think about. And in the handout I sent up here at the top, it's got some more information about the iPhone 16 if you're interested in taking a look at that. Okay. That's, I think, is everything we were going to talk tonight. We talked about tracking how to prevent your phone from tracking you, how to mute notifications, and how to purchase, or reasons to purchase the iPhone 16e. And Kurt did some information on file systems. So let me stop sharing here. And we can open the floor to any questions. iPhone, iPad, Mac.
I think this is where we make a surprise phone call to Brookie on the beach.
I didn't tell him where she went, but yeah, that's right. So, okay, we
Joe?
haven't.
Sorry, Janet, I
Yeah.
just wanted to say that, go to chat and you'll find the link to the documents, from Kurt and Joe. So if you'd like to keep those, you can download them, from chat.
Yes, go into chat and you'll see the little icons and you can tap on it and download it and get it on your computer and review these at your convenience. Okay, thank you, Janet.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Well, one other thing, we always like to brag on ourselves, and maybe you've told this before in other meetings, but CKCS won first place from APCUG for their newsletter for 2024, and they also won first place for their e-bulletin. So we're very proud of that.
Okay, what does that ACPUG mean?
Association of Professional User Groups.
Okay, computer
Sorry,
user
Jen.
groups. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Jen, I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
And I
It's
want
a-
to say thanks to all the
nationwide computer group.
proofreaders.
Yeah,
The
it's a
newsletter-
national organization, not just
Exactly.
Kentucky or whatever. It's national.
They have
Actually,
two
it's,
members in Australia.
We
yeah, I
utilize
was
them
getting
for
ready to
more
say, it's actually
information.
international.
Say again?
It's actually international because it includes Australia and Canada.
Exactly.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And
All
I want
right.
to say thanks to the proofreaders of that newsletter. That's one of the reasons I think it won. Because the proofreaders do a heck of a good job with it. I appreciate them.
Okay, thank you all for coming. Remember, we got new classes coming up. They'll be open. You can sign up for those on April 28th. That's a Monday, April 28th. And some of those classes, I know there's people wanting to get in them. Like in another week or two, I'm doing an iCloud class of 8 people, and it has 8 people on the waiting list. So they're going to be trying to get on that. So if you're interested, make sure you sign up early. And thank you all for coming. Have a good evening and enjoy the warm weather while it lasts.